Hey everybody, welcome back to Victoria 3. I hope you're having a sweet day today. In this alternative America in 1886, we decided to puppet Mexico. And it turns out Mexico was the 15th largest economy in the world. They were 15th in the global GDP. So when you puppet a nation that is 15th in global GDP, you instantly become a pariah. Yeah, infamy. We're up to pariah right now. Now, our total infamy is 104.2. It was 105.5, but it has a bit of a decay. And you can see that there's an infamy decay of 0.1 per week, with a base decay of just 5 per year. And 100% radicals from conquest is essentially what we have right now. Now, if we can get through this period where we have over 100 infamy, that would be great, because at the moment, as we are a pariah, well, great powers will now be able to start the cut down to size diplomatic play against me. And if I look around the world at my attitude, right? This is France, they are our ally, but you can see that they are antagonistic, negative 1,000. And, their antagonism has a lot to do with the fact that we are a threat because of our infamy. So, yeah, they view us as a threatening force, diplomatically. And Great Britain is actually just cautious, thankfully, because they were on the same side of us as us in that conflict. Because they helped us in that conflict, they get a plus 1,000 to their attitude towards us. So, essentially, Great Britain's gonna stay our ally, probably. They're cautious. But France, they might ditch. And Spain is... everybody's feeling, look at this, negative 1,000, negative 1,900 from Scandinavia. Russia's negative 1,800, right? Great King, or Queen, or whatever, negative 800, right? Even Canada is like, oh my God. And they helped us as well. But they are still antagonistic against us, even though they helped a little bit, all right? So in any case, I just wanted to say, when you take over a territory as large as Mexico, then you're instantly a pariah. As a look at here at what France is, because they've been going to war this entire time, but they've been taking these minor nations, and they've been like little bits at a time. They'll take this one, and then we'll wait a little while, then we'll take this one, a little bit, wait a while, right? They keep doing that. And so they only have an infamous score, which is 46, and now just slightly under 46. So, I mean, they're doing it right, but we just did it all one big go, okay? So maybe wasn't the best idea. But again, if we can get under 100 infamy, then we will no longer be a pariah, and nations will no longer get the cut down to size diplomatic play against us. I think, though, because we still have Great Britain as an ally, that other nations are less likely to do this. I think they're less likely to try and cut us down to size. So we'll see how that goes. I am, of course, keeping my military up. Definitely. I have my arms industries. They have been expanded upon since the war, not decreased. We are simply exporting our spare now, so we have an arms export now going out. I don't know how productive that is, though. Let me see. American trade route. So not very good. Small arms, not that productive, but we are trying it out, right? Explosives, etc. We're trying that out. So anyway, that's the update for the war situation, okay? We are currently sitting with almost 4.5 million. Yeah, over 4.5 million in the gold reserves. That feels great. And we are currently researching technology of macroeconomics, which is going to help our trade competitiveness internationally. Should give us a better economic situation there in terms of more power in our trade routes. And also plus 50% trade route volume. I don't know what that actually does for me. Perhaps it means I can ship more of a good in a single route, or does it mean I'm allowed to have more routes? Don't know. Maybe it means that routes will take less bureaucracy. That would be the most ideal. Just in case other countries do want to come and mess with me, because I do obviously have more conquering to do. I have Destroyer nearly done. That's pretty good. I don't know if floating harbor is going to be necessary, but more port levels would be probably good. The monitor is there. Concrete dockyards, landing crafts. Yes, ignore landing penalty. That seems good. Our armies will not have to deal with the landing penalty that's associated with taking troops over the water and landing on there. And then we have submarine, which is pretty cool. And I kind of want to see what the description of this is. So convoy rating efficiency goes up. Okay. All right, good. And it consumes ironclads, which is kind of weird, but all right. And then, yeah, so we have a lot of different things in the military tree I would like to get down, because military superiority is a hallmark of the United States, and I will be preserving our traditions of having sea and air superiority for sure. So as long as I can afford to do so, which, speaking of being able to afford to do so, I think I can lower taxes. I'd like to lower taxes on my people. We don't need these high taxes anymore. We have a surplus. We're out of debt. We're doing well. Let's reduce taxes on everyone, make people happy, improve quality of life, and let the economy do its thing without having a ton of taxes. I like it. All right, Bulgarian migration going to Georgia. All right, Bulgarians like Georgia. Did you know? I didn't. Now I do. Let's take a look at the market, because obviously stabilizing all of these is getting everything as close to 0% is the most ideal situation. So, services. Services is a tricky one because it is very cheap nationwide to get services. And the more I expand the urbanization of, oh, I keep doing it again. Every game I play, right click is to drag the map pretty much. And then, like, I guess not every game I play. Every game I'm playing currently, it's that way. But I suppose a lot of games in the past I've played don't do that. But you can see where services are expensive, and everywhere it's pretty cheap. So 21.7 there, yeah, it's everywhere. It's the same price pretty much everywhere. I think that's just how it works. And services in Saskatchewan are a little bit more expensive. Services in our puppet are seemingly the same. Yeah, okay, fine. And I wonder, as our puppet, we have access to their market, I would assume. So does this mean I can now... I have a good balance of dyes. Dyes are cheaper now. So what I want to do is I want to go through my different industries. I want to expand the ones that are looking a little lacking, and also their input counterparts. And I want to sort of just improve the efficiency of our factories that are making them. So let's start with some luxury goods that are pretty much in high demand from the medium and high wealth that are very expensive. We'll start with wine. Currently, wine is 68.2% of the base price, or higher than the base price. So we want to expand the availability of wine. We're going to go into buildings, rule, go to maize. And what we could do, I know groceries are also expensive, so I don't want to necessarily switch too many of our maize farms away from the supply for wheat, but we do have, I think, and last time I checked anyway, a pretty good wheat grain surplus at the moment, so I can afford to drop a little bit of that, and groceries are only 1% expensive. This product is very important to keep this in check. So we're going to want to go in and let me just make sure, double check, and make sure that our food producers, we'll get one more in Kansas, and let's go one more in Tennessee, and one more in Connecticut. Okay, because those ones are the ones that are productive, so we'll get those going. So while those are building, we're going to, of course, increase supply for these things. And so as we do that, the demands for that product will go up, and then therefore we'll need more production of groceries as we go to balance it out. So what we can do here is we can go into our wheat farms, and I'm just going to say that I want tools to be used for these, which should cut down on the laborers required for all of these types of buildings. And in fact, I can just go in and do harvesting tools for all of them to help that out. Now, I do want to eventually get to steam-powered thresher machines, and I think actually I could do that. It doesn't seem to have a huge effect on things, and the steam-powered thresher machines just use more coal. Coal is reasonably priced at the moment, so I think what I might do is have all of my wheat farms go into steam-powered thresher machines, which means even less laborers for wheat. And then I can also look at maize farms, maybe doing the same thing, although this one's going to be very expensive, I think. Yes, so the price of coal is going to skyrocket. And the price of tools will become unreasonable, but we can probably Well, okay, maybe not that unreasonable, but they will go up. We're going to do this anyway. Steam-powered thresher machines are going to go up. So to counteract that going up, we're going to need to expand our coal industries as well. We're going to go into, and I'll need to also expand iron mines because we'll be using more iron soon too. So I'm going to just expand those right now, and we'll do the ones that are kind of most productive here. Maybe in more of the rural areas. Well, we can upgrade Minnesota, I suppose. And maybe one more level for Montana, just to make sure that iron is staying in good supply. The coal mines are the ones that we really have to upgrade, though. So let's find coal mines. Coal mines. Okay, so we are pretty much doing things as efficiently as possible with the dynamite and everything already in. If I was to look at a single coal mine, let's say in Louisiana, tools are going to start going up now. Explosives are already quite expensive, and transportation is expensive, as well as engines. So everything is expensive for the coal industry. So expanding the coal industry, maybe not the best to get them to be more productive at the moment. Instead, what I should do is expand on their inputs. So we're going to start with, I think, engines and transportation, since this is also used by other industries a lot more too. So transportation should be the railways. Yep. And I want to say we have a railway in almost every state. It says we have 50 railways, but I don't think that means we actually have it in every state because we don't have 50 states. So I think with that, there's just 50 different levels. And we could go with steel. We could do these steel passenger carriages. If I was to do steel passenger carriages on everything, though, it probably completely dominates my steel industry, and it brings the price of transportation down to almost nothing. So we need to maybe use this sparingly. We'll do it in the major markets. We'll say New York, and probably, let's say, Ohio can have it too, and we'll do it in, let's say, Pennsylvania as well. So just adding more transportation to the market. We now have destroyers that we can make for the Navy bases. I'm going to look at that too. I'm going to look at our military production in probably maybe 2 videos from now. We're going to focus. Once we have everything else for the country in place, we're going to start looking at military stuff and trying to make sure that it's as high as possible because we have a huge surplus. We can afford to expand protection. We are currently the number 4 GDP worldwide, getting up there with Great Britain, China, and France. And our quality of life is actually kind of flatlined. While we were in war for a little while there, you can see it kind of started to go down during war, but it's starting to recover and is coming back up. So far, we are keeping things above the minimum expected, and our population is obviously growing as well because people are very comfortable. We have 27 million dependents, 27 million people that will be joining the workforce in a few years, maybe. And we have currently 5.8 million people gainfully employed with 538,000 unemployed. That is a very low unemployment rate. So I am very happy with this. Well, hang on. Well, that's not as low as I thought it was. I suppose it's a reasonable unemployment rate at roughly 10%, right? So it's something we could work with. You don't want a 1% or 2% unemployment rate. You don't want to have the labor market just be like, so, there's nobody unemployed, because then nobody can grow. You can't hire anyone, right? So we have to kind of balance that out a little bit, but it's okay. So we're looking at industries that could expand that are going to get expensive. We'll add more to coal. We're going to go over to the motor industries. We're still making trains here in the Motor City, and I would, of course, very much like to get to automobiles so that we can get our military going with automobiles instead of trains, but I can't do that just yet. So we're just going to expand Motor City, I think, 2 levels, and then I'm going to go to urban. Actually, our tooling, we're going to need more tooling as well. So why don't we just expand tooling in one of every state instance here. Michigan should have good qualifications, so we'll expand it twice there. And for the chemical plants, I think we do this. We get the price of explosives under control pretty quickly. So we'll make sure that everyone is using that. And then for the synthetic plants, we can actually start making silk ourselves. which is nice. So we got the opportunity to do that. We're going to switch Virginia to RAN. And I also want to evaluate, as time goes on, what the prices are for this stuff. So we should see the price of dye. It's pretty cheap. And the price of silk should be coming down, way down. Now it's very inexpensive, which will, of course, make these buildings not very productive. So to make them more productive, we'll need to expand the markets that are making luxury goods. So we can go to our textile mills. Here we are. And we want to have like elastics, which is good. We want to get rubber. We need to get access to rubber. And I'm wondering, let me go to craftsman sewing really quick for everybody. And then we can go to electric sewing machines with a few of these. Yeah, this will bring up the price of electricity a little bit, but I have expanded my electricity as well. I've already expanded that. So, and then we can go for power looms. Less laborers is very nice. Yep, there we go. All right, so we'll keep an eye on this industry. This is going to kind of fluctuate a little bit, but it should come back online momentarily once things kind of level out. And then we'll have to take a look at that industry as well. So, yeah, so we're going to take and expand transportation. We're going to expand coal. We're going to expand steel. Just expanding everywhere, right? Because we still have... take a look at my population. We still have 7.3 million peasants, which means most laborers are peasants. Okay, so we obviously need to fix this and have a lot less peasants, and it'd be nice if we have also, maybe less laborers and more specialists, like we can have more clerks or more engineers, etc. So to have less peasants is always great. So if I take a look at how many people do we currently employ, if I was to switch to this, so we would reduce the number of laborers by 2K, but we would increase the number of machinists and engineers by 2K collectively. So it would make things more productive with the same number of people, which is still improving efficiency. All right, so that's what I'm up to. I'm up to just kind of expanding various industries right now to keep prices in check and to try to get this right column to have everything as close to 0% as I possibly can, because that is the expected price, and that is when everything is the most optimal for all input and outputs for our industry. So I'm going to be tackling that challenge a little bit here, and I will be right back. I don't want to just have my entire video be me building buildings and making things, right? I want to do something. I want to tell you what I'm up to and then do it and then show you the effects of it if I can. So I will be right back. All right, I wanted to stop just a little bit here. I am still expanding and sinking all this extra surplus I have into things, but I wanted to stop really quick and show you that we have enact migration controls on this. And I actually need this in order to be, closer to what we are today in America. So I'm going to actually go ahead and do this. There's a higher chance to actually enact this because it's placated. This is already a movement. And I had, of course, radicals going up. So this will bring them to heal if I can there. So I just wanted to show you that I was up to doing that as well. Obviously, you can see that there's a lot of things being built here. We're using the maximum of our 525 building capacity. Tooling workshops expanding along with everything because the coal mines are going to start using more tools, so the tools have to expand with it. We're starting to use more power, so power plants are expanding with it. I need more people with more qualifications, so I'm also expanding education around the country as well, and trying to get this literacy to be up. I'd love it to be like 95+%, and that'd be great. Of course, GDP continues to climb, and our population continues to rise. Very nice. Okay, so I just wanted to show you, again, we're going to be doing enacting migration controls as well. If you're not familiar with what that is, essentially that is, I'll just read it to you here. Migration controls, only people of cultures and religions not discriminated against may migrate. We don't discriminate, so it doesn't matter. So in other words, this is closer to what we have in America in that we do have some sort of border checks. We have a lot of migration controls in this country, probably one of the strictest migration controls policies amongst modern countries. And so this is ultimately something that is significantly closer to today's America than no migration controls at all. Okay, so we don't discriminate, so that actually has no effect. So I'll go ahead and just do it, and people can stop being radicalized as a result. All right, let me just continue to fix the market here real quick, and I'll be right back. I just wanted to show you guys something because I think it's hilarious. I have 7 pages of stuff queued up in my construction queue. 7 pages. of stuff. And I'm losing lots of tax dollars actually from tax waste. So I'm going to go ahead and move up all my government administration buildings. I'm going to move them all. Whoops. Oh, that's the iron mines. I'll move them all to the top of the list. All the government administration building upgrades are going to the very top of the list because I need this for the bureaucracy. So up they go. And then I've got some paper stuff happening somewhere in there. So I'm going to be using a lot more paper soon. But I just wanted to show you guys, like, that's happening while I'm just rapidly expanding so many different industries at the same time, attempting to balance everything out. But it is working. People's lifestyle is improving. We're up to 8.4 million loyalists at this point, down to just 1.4 million on the radicals. Migration controls has a 50% chance to pass, and there's actually another movement for census suffrage. These guys just never stop, man. They just don't quit, you know? Even the industrialists want in on it. All the wealthy just want to keep the wealthy in check, you know? They want to keep the wealthy in power, sorry. Wealthy just want to keep the wealthy in power all the time. It's a real drag, man. I've actually used almost my entire reserve now doing this. So I'm dipping into the reserve really hard here, but that's okay. We're going to keep going. I've also raised taxes while I do this because I felt like, you know, I'm going to be really doing some good stuff for people here. And it'd be a good thing if they could pay me to do that. It'd be great. So I'm going to actually have them paying for these, you know, paying for everything here. Migration controls are done. So we did the thing that they wanted me to do. We're up to almost 10 million loyalists now because of that. So there you go. Yeah, everybody's going to be happy now, hopefully. I think I've decreased the price of steel too much. 9.9 or 8.9 is pretty good. But yeah, I definitely need to expand iron mines. Those are all in the queue. The iron mines, coal mines, all this stuff. I've looked through the different productions and stuff, and like how much each one produces and everything. And I'm like, this is how many upgrades I need in order to make what I want to have done be done. And so I've got them all queued up. It's just a matter of letting this go. Construction sectors were expanded. We're up to 641 in this capacity now. And then there, trade competitiveness is up, as well as trade route volume. So now I got to wonder what's going to happen, because now everything's going to be off if we're going to be trading more stuff. So let me go into, you know, diesel pumps and stuff would be great. It's going to increase the demand on oil, but I think diesel pumps will be really good. Steel turbine. I need to get, yeah, oil turbine for the power plants. This is going to unlock coal-fired power plants, which obviously means more coal consumption. So we got to do that too. But what it does also do is, I guess it gives me more people jobs. So I guess there's that too. Electric railways is a good thing to do. Probably want to get that going. Rail cars, all that kind of stuff, electric stuff. Of course, you know, you have to wonder, like, do you... Yeah, so here's the thing about the efficiency of things, right? It is significantly more efficient. And this is also the case for electric vehicles, the argument for electric vehicles as well. It is significantly more efficient to generate a whole bunch of power in a central location, like a power plant, and distribute that power to electric vehicles, like trains and all, you know, and cars, so that those individual cars can run off of their batteries and electricity. It is way more efficient to do that than it is to have every single vehicle have its own individual engine burning fuel. And so having electric railways should be more efficient than having coal trains, even if we have a coal power plant powering those railways. So that is a little bit there. I think, though, what we're going to do is... for research, I might do that, but I was looking at, what was I looking at? Conveyors. This is what I was looking at, conveyors, because I think conveyors is going to help me with my tooling. It's really hard to keep up on tooling, and assembly lines would be very helpful for the tooling workshops, I think. So I'm going to go ahead and get that, because tools are... like, it seems like every time you upgrade a machine, every time you move to more modernization in any factory at all, it just uses more tools. So everything needs tools. So we're going to work on that a little bit too here to get it moving. So again, I have a huge tax deficit at the moment for bureaucracy, but I was thinking, yeah, government administration buildings are all going to finish, and we'll watch the bureaucracy deficit melt away, hopefully. hopefully. 657. There it is. Done. Finally. All those government administration buildings, they just need to kick in. Give me those employees. And we have even more of them going in here too. So that should help my tax waste problem. And there is my surplus, temporarily my surplus. So now I've got 10 million loyalists. Oh boy. Very, very cool. So many more construction projects left to do. Nationwide, we're getting it done. I will be right back. Actually, you know what? Before I turn this over, I just want to show you how close we're getting to zero. So services are still cheap. As people expand, as the cities expand naturally, the demand for services will go up. This will eventually equalize. We have grain. That's still at a surplus. I switched all the maize fields to vineyards, so that reduced the amount of grain. But we still have enough dedicated grain farms to keep this up. So there's that. Coal, actually under control. That's not bad. Pretty much everything on the top here is pretty close to zero, with groceries being slightly cheaper as planned. I still have to deal with the glass and steel problem, and every time I deal with the steel problem, I have to deal with increased demand for iron, so that keeps going up too. We'll just deal with that as we go. Transportation's getting worked on. There's a bunch of railways expansions in the queue. Fertilizer's under control. Actually stopped exporting it, which is good. Porcelain's finally affordable, so there's that. And still have to work on power. Every time I make a factory more efficient to kick out more goods, it adds power, so I have to keep adding power to the network as well. And yeah, dyes are under control now. Luxury goods, zero. Pinned it right there. Luxury clothes are very good. And wine's come down. It was way down. Looks like it started to rise up a little bit. Furniture is also at 0%, as is the price of gold, apparently. Like, gold just stays gold, you know? I guess gold just stays gold. I didn't even know that was on the market. But yeah, we're getting very close, right, to having things equalize. The things I don't really know how to get at the moment, I've been looking at it. I don't know how to get a good supply of opium. And you might think, oh, well, that's not a big deal. But in order to do medical stuff with your military bases and stuff, you need to have a good supply of opium. And I don't have a good supply of opium. I also would love to import tea. Not that I like it personally, but a lot of people do. And it's very expensive. The thing that bugs me, going back to the trade system, is that I go to an import route and I try to find an import route for tea. And we'll find tea. Tea, where's tea? Tea is... I don't even see tea. About to add that to my list of things that I don't like. Okay, it's tea. There we go. I was like, I am a trade partner and an ally of Britain. I have to have tea available. So British tea, we can do Dutch tea, we can do French tea. I can do all these things to get trade routes for tea, right? So let's just you know, Great King, whatever. Let's get these trade routes for tea in here so that I can get a supply of tea and bring the price of tea to heel. And there it is. So now it's 2%. So clearly we can have it. And so what I think is happening with the trade system, I'm trying to figure it out, is it'll show you this very small amount that can be exported and stuff. But if you try it and you let it go and you maybe add a whole bunch of different countries, you're gonna get a decent supply. And we don't have a huge demand for tea in this country, so it's not gonna be super big deal. But now that we've brought tea in, it'll start to get out into the population. It'll start to get exposure. Word of mouth will pass around. Everyone will be like, hey, did you try that new stuff called tea? No, what's that? I think our ancestors threw it off a boat, right? Yeah, the tea. Well, it's back and it's delicious. You should try it. And then the demand goes up, right? So, yeah. Anyway, we have man wars, which are more expensive, but clippers are very cheap. Probably should go into my shipyards and stuff and figure that out. So, let's see. Steamships are good. I want to do military shipbuilding. Extensive military shipbuilding. Apparently I can't do these. Why can't I do these? One of these is active in the building. Wooden ships, reinforced wooden ships. Oh, I have to have... oh, I see. Man of wars, because I can't have steamships being produced here. Well, okay. Steamers are currently more expensive, so I need that to be done. But what I could maybe do is find another port. We can give a shipyard, put a shipyard in South Carolina, tell South Carolina to do reinforced wooden ships and then do military shipbuilding. And then this would allow us to have more man of wars in exchange for more of the reinforced wood, of course. But, you know, I can deal with that later, I suppose. So we are finally now In debt again. Hey. In debt again. It's happened, but it's okay because it's rapid expansion. All these government administration buildings cannot be subsidized by the capitalists. So you see the investment pool transfer, right? Everything I'm building right now, which is the reason why I have a big deficit. Railways, power plants, government administration buildings, they can't be paid for by capitalists. They're not getting paid for by those. So when all of these are on the docket, when all of these are on the big list, which is what that just was, government administration buildings and railways and power plants, my deficit is huge because I can't dip into investment pool. But as soon as these things finish and we get into things like, exclusively coal mines and other things, now we're getting universities and power plants. So we're still not going to show you a good example here because I've got it kind of mixed in. But if I was to get things basically that are not strictly government structures, like coal mines, this becomes a little bit more tolerable because the investment pool can help. And it actually is helping at the moment. We're getting a plus 86,000 towards construction because of that investment pool. It's kind of wild. So once all this entire construction queue is done, I'll show you what the market looks like at that point. And again, we're just kind of riding out this infamy, but I think we're done doing that. Yep. We're now notorious, which they can't do cut down to size now. So that's good. And we are still in a hostile relationship with Mexico. I believe it was until June 10th? I think June 10th was my mystery date, right? Truces, here it is. June 9th. So in June 10th is, that's the day we're going to go invade. 1892. So about a year and a half from now, we can go ahead and annex Mexico. Get access to all that booty. All that loot. 3 million in debt. Not concerned about it. I will be right back. All right, we just got central planning done. That opens up an extra 25 taxation capacity for everything, which is pretty nice. We're up to 666 on our construction. Maybe an ominous sign to come. Nah, never mind. It's going to be expanded even further than that. Still building, still rapidly increasing productivity, rapidly increasing production, and because I've been pushing all of my money into this, right? The investments I'm making, for every dollar I spend, it is adding more than $1's value to our nation's GDP. And because of that, we are now the number 2 power in the world. Yeah, I just zoomed ahead of everybody else with that because I'm able to do that with the middle taxation here. Right? But I'm also able to do that because I'm able to invest in so many people around with so much productivity available. And the construction sector has helped me do it. We're down to just 2 pages left, maybe 1 page as soon as some of these coal mines expand. And we will be the number 1 economic powerhouse in the world very, very soon. And we will do so before we are even allowed to annex Mexico. So we are doing so without even having Mexico's land and resources, which is pretty good. We're up to almost 11 million loyalists. Radicals are, line go up. The census suffrage thing is still over here, so line go up. But we are still just powering through and adding way more loyalists than anywhere else. You can see radicals are very concentrated, so I can now focus on that. And Canadian Alberta has the most radicals because I have done nothing here. So I'm going to add, let's say, a level... let's just go 1 government administration building here. And you know what? I'll get some glass being made here. We'll go like a level... let's do like a level 4 glass works with a university to help with qualifications. We'll actually do level 2 there. And then also let's get oil being pumped through here because we are going to need a lot more oil very, very soon. So Alberta can only have a level 7. So we're going to max that out. And Alberta will be a bunch of oil rigs, coal mines, the university to help with those qualifications, and then the glass works as well to help with that too. I might get the livestock ranches up. We obviously need construction sector added a little bit for the efficiency of it. And then let's get a couple of railways, a couple of railway pips on there too. So we'll just go ahead and get the construction sector added to the top of the list there. And then we'll add the railway for the infrastructure to help them out with that. And then the oil rigs to really get them moving. So Again, to get these guys to be less radical, right? They're impoverished, which is still barely above their minimum expected. But to get them happier, we need to give them the essentials that they expect. We need to give them affordable things. My market is getting very balanced. I'm not going to worry about the steel just yet, because steel and iron, you know, every time I increase this, this goes up too. So I have to do this kind of interchangeably. But everything is getting very, very balanced. We're almost there, but groceries are 5% discount, very good, and clothing is a 1% discount, very good. Tooling is actually under control, thankfully. And what I wanted to see, though, like, that's the stuff they need, but in order to buy that stuff, in order to, even though it's affordable, in order to be able to buy it in the first place, they need to have quality jobs. And now, you know, standard of living is decreasing to 9 here now because the stuff isn't done yet. So now there's, you know, it'll go way up. We're going to see standard of living in Alberta will probably end up being probably 13, 12, 13 in a very short period of time as soon as these jobs come online. And then these guys can be very productive because the price of oil is quite cheap right now, but it's going to go way up because while I was away, we got access to tractors. And so our farms, like our maize farms, for example, we can now switch down to tractors, which will use less tools, more engines, and more coal. Oh, it's coal. I need compression ignition tractors. Oh. I figured tractors would be using oil, but it isn't. Oh, darn it. Oh, well. We need to expand a bit of our maize farms as well to help with the price of wine. And I'm trying to do this without importing, right? I'm trying to, like, just domestically to produce it because I can't evaluate trade routes with my partners. I can't evaluate and predict with accuracy how much I can rely on my trade partners in this game. It just does not seem like there's any way to properly... Excuse me? Opium addiction. I don't even really have it. Are you just like sucking down all of the available opium? Because there's barely any opium here. So apparently Arkansas is just sucking it all down, and that's why there's none for the rest of the country. Okay, fine. Okay. Afro-Caribbean people in Arkansas. The opium eater lies under the weight of incubus and nightmare. He lies in sight of all that he would fain perform, just as a man forcibly confined to his bed by the mortal languor? Yeah, I guess so. Languor of a relaxing disease, who is compelled to witness injury or outright offered to some object of his tenderest love. He curses the spells which chain him down from motion. He would lay down his life if he might but get up and walk, but he is powerless as an infant and cannot even attempt to rise. It's tragic. -2 standard of living in all of Arkansas? Wow. All of Arkansas is just a bunch of... They're still to 13. So even though the drop happened, they're still in 13. I will combat this by raising the steel mills in Arkansas. Let's get them the steel jobs instead. Synthetic plant. What are we doing here? What are you doing here, huh? Your stuff is only slightly discounted. Sulfur is expensive. You know, I've been ignoring sulfur this entire time. I'll admit it. I've been completely ignoring the sulfur. Michigan's incredibly productive with sulfur. So we will raise this by, let's say, 3 levels. And let's get the people of Wisconsin involved in the sulfur industry as well for a little bit. Let's see if we can get that sulfur price down a little bit more there by adding additional supply to Le Marquette. We are now down to 2 pages again, hopefully. Yep, down to 2 pages. All the maize farms will be done, so that should help with the price of wine. All my power plants are going to finish. That'll help with the price of electricity. Just go ahead and see what the price of electricity is now. It's steadily coming down, but like every time I raise it, it just gets a little bit more used. And now I have to get engines. So engines was like one of the last things I wanted to look at here. Because engines uses every other product like in the chain, like steel and all that stuff. So I want to go to getting engines. So motor industries. We should see good productivity from all of them. We're going to raise 3 levels here, 3 levels here, and 2 levels in Michigan, and I think I'm actually going to go more levels in Arkansas and Illinois. And then I need to add probably several more states to go with this because, again, I want Detroit to be the exclusive. This is my goal. It doesn't have to be. It's not that way anywhere else, but I want Detroit to be the exclusive provider of cars in the United States. All the cars come out of Detroit. That's what I want. I want it all come from that Motor City. So we're going to see if we can't make that happen. It's pretty silly, and I don't need it to be that way, but I'm going to try to make it that way. So motor industries. We're going to expand motor industries into states that need more jobs. Iowa could do some. Let's get them on the train. South Dakota could get on the train as well. And then, of course, if you're making trains, it's probably a good idea to have a rail system in those states as well. And I don't even know if I can do that with this menu. I don't think I've ever added a train with this menu. Is it in like a different... Oh, conveyors being done is super good for motor industries as well. Construction sector, government administration, university. But I don't see railways in this menu. I don't think I've ever used this for rail before. Because I don't think it's in this menu. Infrastructure just does not appear in this menu. So conveyors being done is great. So we're going to go over to pretty much every motor industry and just switch to conveyors. I don't think there's a reason not to unless I'm misreading what's ultimately going to happen here. Motor industries. I mean, that's munitions motor industries. So we want to switch all motor industries to assembly lines, which uses more oil, uses a lot less coal, thankfully. Whew. Good. But it will also use a lot more electricity, which we're working on. So we're going to get electricity to be under control here, but I'm going to switch all the assembly lines. All motor industries are going to assembly lines now. It should bring down the price of motors a lot. So South Dakota is going to need a railway. That is functioning, but we're going to need to do that more. And then I thought I saw North Dakota doesn't have full market access. Yeah, they're struggling with infrastructure. So they're probably the state. Yep. They're probably the state that I forgot to incorporate into our rail network. So we're going to go over here real quick. Next page, thanks. Yep, and we're going to add railway and construction sector for that state to the top of the list, just to give them some more infrastructure, because having little market access is a very good way to radicalize your population. They want market access. They want full market access. So I want 100% on every state. And if you don't have 100% on every state, that means you have an infrastructure problem. So you can go in and you can fix that. Actually, while I was going crazy, Pennsylvania had just 30%. I was like, what the hell? No, sorry, that wasn't the state. It was a different state that had 30%. I think it was over here somewhere. But they had, oh, no, this is what it was. Pennsylvania actually had taxation capacity that was so low that I was only receiving 40% of the taxes that I was supposed to be receiving from Pennsylvania. So I had to dramatically increase the amount of government administration. It's up to 12 now. I believe it was sitting at 4 before. So I increased government administration here because I couldn't tax everybody in Pennsylvania for a little while there. So all right, research wise, we got conveyors. That's good. We can go to the dough rollers. I don't really think we need that. I think what I would rather have is the compression ignition, and then we can really get the motor running. So are we number 1 yet? Still number 2, and France is up. Yeah, so we're only 30 million more GDP to getting there. Our population has increased quite rapidly. But we've maintained literacy somewhat. We're down below 80%, but as population is increased, right, the percentage of literacy is going to reduce as we go here too. Maryland is also impoverished, so they are getting quite radical in Maryland. Let me just take one quick look at Maryland, make sure that we can get them a railway to help with infrastructure. Get their construction sector up a little bit here too. Railway, we want to get your port up. That's going to help with infrastructure as well. Let's expand your Navy base by 1. And then I want to give you some maize farms. We'll go with like, say, 5 of them. And we can raise fish by 1. Your glass needs to go up by 3, I think. And then we will increase government administration here, let's say by 5. I then want to add a power plant here so that you can help us with our power needs nationwide. We'll go level 3. And the Whig Party is reformed. And then the final thing I'm going to do here is get you involved with, I think, the steel mills. Because we're going to need more steel. We'll go level 3 there. And then finally, actually, a university to help with qualifications. And we'll go up by 3 there, too. That should improve your quality of life banger, because it gives you lots of great jobs in industries that are in high demand nationwide. It improves your infrastructure, which I need to do by going like this. This, and then university for qualifications, and glassworks at the top of the list. So let's put Maryland at the top of the list for things to improve. See if we can't get rid of that bright red Maryland here. So lots of things to invest there. In case you're wondering about the total debt during all of this, the total debt is currently sitting at almost 7.5 million. Yeah, it is actually 7.5 million now. Which, again, doesn't matter to me one bit. It's all gonna get worked out. So everything's gonna be fine soon. So yeah, it's all good. The market also needs, Delaware needs additional rail access. I'm actually gonna give you 2 ports instead, so I can get those trade convoys. You know what? Actually, no. We'll give you a railway too. Construction sector needs to go up, and we can also go a naval base, I suppose, and then add more barracks for more soldiers. And then the maize farms will give us more grapes for wine. Synthetics plant is not productive. Sulfur too expensive, wood's expensive, and then your outputs are very cheap, and your inputs are very expensive. That's oftentimes the case. We will switch, I think, to... No, I'm going to expand glass factory. That's going to use more wine, and then I'm going to be expanding clothing and stuff, textile mills. That's going to use more silk. So no, I think that's going to work itself out. Your inputs being too cheap is going to work itself out as I expand other industries. And I think the sulfur, I was getting another state involved in sulfur. That should take care of the sulfur problem as well, I thought. Maybe it's already done. I think it is already done. Minnesota, are you in the sulfur game? These industries are not going to be productive, and that's fine. So chemical plants, approved fertilizers. Thought for sure we had Michigan's in the sulfur game. We'll go 2 more levels in Michigan for the sulfur game as well. But I really want most of Michigan's people are going to be really focused on engines. We're going to be really focused on this because it's incredibly expensive. And this is all going to get expanded. I think I'm going to go like level 6 here, actually. And then, no, these guys are the cars. These guys are the cars. Let's pull this back. There we go. I want the engines to be, I think it was Iowa. Iowa's motor industries is going to get up here too. Yeah, all right, there it is. So now it's just a matter of waiting. We just got to wait for these industries to expand. And then we will see Maryland's quality of life greatly improve. We should see this number probably up to 14 very soon, at least 13 very soon. It just needs to have these construction projects finish, and then it will just spurt up there well above impoverished, and everything will be okay in Maryland. Okay, Maryland, I'm going to take care of you now. I'm sorry I've neglected you about as much as I've neglected Delaware, because they don't have a railway either. That's getting worked on as well. There you go. That's getting worked on. And then the more buildings I begin to add and the more urbanization, it'll add availability for new services. And actually, we should go into all of our urban centers and make sure that they are tricked out and good now, since silk and all that other stuff is less pricey. So we'll go to not trade centers. Maybe it's development. All right, where is it? City centers, urban centers. Where are you? Urban center. Here it is. Urban centers. So we should see arcades. Services goes way up. That's not what we want. I just want covered markets, I think. It just uses more glass, though. That's interesting. We can actually use less glass by switching our glass works, funny enough, to use plastic instead for, like, Tupperware and stuff. So the glassworks, if we go down to houseware plastics, it produces more glass, which is sort of a substitute. So it just plastics count as glass for houseware plastics, but this will bring down the price of glass, which should help all the industries that are using the glass to begin with as well. And then bone china will add more porcelain. We definitely need to do that, looks like. So we can just do this and really bring in the dough here. We're just going to do that. So houseware plastics, we're just going to take all of it. All glassworks will use this, and we'll use bone china and houseware plastics. All of them will. And that's probably going to throw off a whole lot of stuff because I wasn't planning on doing that initially. But let me just take a quick gander here at what you are struggling with. It's going to be lead. Oil is actually under control now. So we should see your inputs are inflated, so we'll have to work on that too. But that's secondary to getting Maryland to be better. So once these things finish, it's only a couple of weeks now, Maryland. Just hold on with me now. Only a couple of weeks, and then everything will be okay for you. Glassworks is going in, railways, power plants, all those things are happening for you. It's going to be fine. There we go. Things are starting to get sorted out in Delaware as well. Should see the infrastructure improve very shortly in Delaware as the port is going to be built in 1 week. There we go. And Delaware should now have better infrastructure starting, at least once it starts to hire for that port. And then the railway, of course, will push it off as well. But there we go. The infrastructure is improving. American market access is improving. And then finally, Maryland. How we doing? 12.6. I told you I'd take care of you guys. I told you. We'll get you there, right? So you can have good paying jobs in the glassworks. For some reason, you're not hiring. There it is. I was going to say, power is definitely an industry that you should be hiring for. So we'll definitely get that improved as well. All right. So we had an election, and the election has the Progressive Party once more, Intelligentsia, winning another election. They have held power for so long. And Joel Adams is president now. He's very hated. Somehow he got elected, but he's hated. Don't know how he got elected, but he did. I kind of want to bring in, and you notice we have loyal, neutral, right? So I kind of want to get on the industrialists' good side now, because that's where the capitalists are. And the capitalists are allowing me to have 306,000 surplus while constructing things, because their investment pool is awesome. I love this. And now you can get investment pool stuff from others too, like aristocrats and stuff, but they don't, it's not for the same stuff. Yeah, let's get my authority under control here. Let's do this. My authority under control. There we go. So I don't think I really want to reform government here. I could bring the industrialists in, but I'm not going to do that. Nobody really needs Silver Legion. Nice. Is that like a play on your old man hair? Your silver? Yeah, old farts in the bourgeoisie. Yeah. Is there any laws we could enact while we're doing all this stuff, though? I don't think so. Maybe you can't do Social Security. I need the trade unions to come back so I can do that kind of stuff. And I can't do private health insurance or anything either. So I think what I need here is I need the industrialists to be in government. I do. So the next election, I'm going to bring the industrialists in because the industrialists will support private health insurance. And that's good. And then, for the old age pension and the wage subsidies and things like that, I really need the trade unions to be involved. And I think the trade unions are marginalized now. I don't see them. Oh, they're up here. They're in the Working Man's Party. Oh, yes, of course. The Working Man's Party. Well, we'll have to get the Working Man's Party involved at some point as well. But we are not going to reform our government. We're going to leave it exact. Well, I can still do it. I can still do it now. If I do this, then I have full legitimacy and I can enact whatever I want. So let's actually do that. We'll bring the Working Man's Party in here. And then we'll go to laws. And now I can enact all of these things if I want to. And I can actually do public, but not private. Right, because I didn't bring in the industrialists. So this will add 2 to our health system institution investment and -5 mortality. So I like this. Let's do public health insurance and get that on the docket and see if people are open to the idea of having health insurance. And then oh, that event went away. I didn't even click it. Normally it just, well, I guess it timed out. I don't know what the option was, but it timed out. Maryland is up to 15.1. See, we fixed Maryland. I told you I'd fix Maryland. There you go, Maryland. Have fun with that. Good stuff. I want to have your power plant improved as well. We probably do need coal-fired power plants. I don't like them, but we probably need them. We're using less tools. I think the tool industry is solid because when we switch to tractors, we'll be using less tools. So I think the tool industry is fine. I don't need to expand that anymore. Automated bakery would use more tools, I guess, but we're pretty solid in almost every place. Let's take a look at loyalty. I mean, it's a beautiful thing, isn't it? Even Alberta, even American Alberta is on board with me, although they don't have enough access to the market yet. They need to have their railway improved. So we're going to do that too. We'll get that on the list. That starts immediately because we're down. And then coal mines. What's up with you guys? Did you just get built or something? Your inputs are in check, so you should be going. The only thing I can think of is there's just not enough people, but that's just not possible. Glassworks is not. No, you guys got to be hiring. Is there just not enough people to work here or what? Completely not unproductive. Even the oil industry. No productivity here. That's strange. Is everybody working in the glassworks? Because they pay 30. Yeah, well, they pay really well. That's why. Look at the prices on the glass stuff. Yeah, porcelain is very expensive. So since the glassworks is paying so well, you know, they're not willing to work in those other industries. But I'm going to try to expand this, which will open up more room for more people. And now they're going to jump over here because they can actually make some money now. Yeah. So oil is no longer super discounted. Engines are under control. Transportation's under control. The market is significantly more balanced. I have to do something about iron. But other than that, the market is significantly more balanced than it was before. I'm feeling good about this market. Isn't this great? This is good. Obviously, mana wars, but like, who the hell needs those? We'll just create more, I guess, with the shipyards or whatever. We'll just create more over here. Yeah, so we're up to over 300,000 surplus now, and completely out of debt. Back to getting reserves. All right, that's gonna do it for me on this video. We have outdone ourselves. It took me a little bit longer than usual, but it is now June 14th, 1893. You know what that means? Mexico. You know what that means, Mexico? Mexico? No more treaties. Oh, no more truces with Mexico. I think it's time. I wonder if I can just improve my relations with them and then ask them to join the Union. I mean, that might be an option. If I improve my relations with them enough, I wonder if I can just ask them. But if I ask nicely and they refuse, we'll be visiting the diplomatic plays tab. I mean, I'd probably have to do that anyway. Is there any way to do that, I wonder? Because I just like annex subject, right? So if I click this, right? The Philippines will side with the enemy. And France is no longer an ally. Look at this. France, not an ally anymore. Oh, is that so? They may fight me. It doesn't look like I have Great Britain as an ally either. So over time, while I've been fixing my GDP, fixing my country, and moving myself up to almost the #1 in the world, I've lost my allies. They have decided to leave me during this process, and they are still cautious with me. Although my infamy only is a -89 for them now. Same thing with France, only a -58. So my infamy, I'm still notorious at 68.3. Yikes. And if I was to attempt to take this and annex this, it would give me another 17.6 infamy, which isn't so bad. Not so bad. It's only bad if France decides to jump in here and try to fight me to save Mexico's being a dominion of mine. I don't know why they would do that, but hey, who knows? They have interest over here, and that might be the way it is. In any case, guys, thank you for watching. I appreciate it. I hope you have a great day today. I hope this video has been entertaining and educational and all sorts of things. We fixed a lot of stuff here. very green throughout the country with only a few slivers of real redness. I'm going to focus up there. I kind of have neglected those areas over there. And then right here in the middle, there's some deep red. So I'll have to take a look at that too. But we also obviously have preserved charity hospitals, which is going to make line go up. Yeah. All right. Anyway, take care. We'll see ya. Bye-bye.